What's up, Lorehounds? It's Koopa inside the Carbine Studios booth. I'm here with Frost, the design producer for WildStar's. So actually, you guys are showing off a little PvE down there and some instants. So we actually have the new starting zone for your little furry buddies.
Yes.
So how are people receiving it?
So really well. The Chua are awesome because they're these furry little vindictive bastards that create all these pieces of weaponry for the Dominion. So they're playable. We also have the Mordesh as well. If you play at White Veil, you can play one of those. That's another announced race that we just did. But it's been going great, man. I mean, we've got the starting zone, like you said, and then we have World PvP that's going on in White Veil. So that's a ton of fun to watch people kill each other and do all that fun stuff.
So I think a lot of our fans know that you guys have a lot of humor in your, the reveals are funny and all that. I believe he delivered a bomb to the...
yeah, yes.
Yeah. So does that keep going on in the starting zone?
Yeah, I would say so. You know, a lot of stuff we try to mix both having humor and, you know, stuff where you're killing stuff at the same time. So yeah, certainly
humor death.
Humor death. You know, hilarious. we love it. You know, we're definitely a dark comedy game. You know, there's some different stuff in there. In fact, if you play in Crimson Isle, there's a giant beast that has like a football helmet on, basically, that's like stomping around, that's like a group boss sort of guy that you need to get a couple people to kill. So yeah, we definitely have that humor going on right off the bat. And even the Chua, you know, they have this frenetic kind of talking pattern, and so when you talk to quest givers and stuff, they're like, yeah, let's go kill them, you know, it's great.
For some reason, I think of angry squirrels.
Like angry squirrels, hamsters, gerbils, yeah, I would say that's definitely where we're going for. It's kind of weird, but we love it.
I'd love to see like your research of how you came up with it. Because I mean, it is like a new little furball thing.
Yeah, I have no idea. It was like some people were like, he's kind of like Lilo and Stitch, sort of, but at the same time, he's like way more brutal than that guy. Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
So one of the things we just actually went over was some new instances.
Yes. And
we actually learned that you guys are you're sticking very hardcore sticking very close to what you consider hardcore.
Yes.
So dungeons are hardcore to you guys, no matter if it's a raid or if it's a 5-man.
So yeah, even at level 17, we are throwing you in stuff that is pretty hard. It's not impossible, but you really got to be paying attention. You know, what we don't have is, you know, what we call cigarette combat. You know, so you can't be like playing at a game one-handed. Like that, right? Yeah, exactly. You got to be like, oh crap, you know, paying attention because you're gonna die if you don't dash out of the way of stuff. Like, I mean, you can look at this stuff. It's pretty brutal.
So you guys are looking to actually really break our rotations and stuff. I'm not just going to be sitting there 1, 2, 3. Oh, the red light went off. 5.
It will not be that. You know, in the PvE content, we're trying to keep that so that, you know, casual average gamer can play through that. If you got a pulse, you can get through it. But the dungeons,
and that's just the open world questing stuff.
That's the open world questing stuff. You know, that stuff is, you know, you can get through that. Don't worry about that. But the dungeons, if you want a hardcore experience, play the dungeons because they're going to be brutal. And they're a ton of fun because you actually have to play, you know, with not a rotation that's just going to be 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You know, we have group CC that you need to do. We have dodging out of the way. We have shift to sprint, double jump. We have all this stuff that you really need to kind of pay attention with in our game.
Yeah, you guys do a lot of movement, and part of that you have, I want to call it the AVR system, where you show, so right behind us actually, they're going on right now, where it's clear telepath that there's going to be some dangerous thing incoming.
Yeah.
And I think at this point MMO gamers know red mean bad, red circle mean bad.
Indeed.
And are you guys even maybe using that as a crutch to make things harder? Where you're like, all right, this is the bad thing. We're telling you exactly where you shouldn't be, and so we can do a little more unscripted or, you know, dynamic battle.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is we read all the comments on videos, we look at all the forums and stuff like that, and a lot of people are like, this looks like it's game for 13-year-olds because it tells me where it's going to hit. But the thing about it is, in dungeons, they're insane, they're huge, and if you don't use like coordinated attacks on the monsters, you're probably going to get hit by them. And when you do get hit by them, it's like, damn, that thing just... That's hit me.
That was a trap.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we have stuff where you can dodge out of the way to do that, or you can interrupt them with a CC, and it's all about skill-based stuff with us. So, you know, it is more challenging than it looks. And you actually, if you want to be that guy, you can turn off the telegraphs. So, if you want to not see where it's coming in on, go for it.
You guys do a lot of movement with your battles. How close are we staying to the Holy Trinity?
Oh, this is completely the Holy Trinity.
This is totally in there.
Tank, DPS, healer, that's what we got. But, there's different subsets of that. Our classes can be different roles. So if I'm a
dual
warrior...
class structure.
Yeah, so if I'm a warrior, I can be a DPS warrior, or I can be a tank warrior. And even within that, you can choose what abilities you want to be what kind of tank you are. Like, for example, if I want to be a tank that just soaks up all the damage and I'm constantly this shield that's stopping everything, I can do that. Or I can be this CC tank that just does nothing but interrupt and move around and do all that stuff. So
stop the damage from occurring rather than absorbing.
Exactly. And you can kind of move around more. And I love tanking in our game because you still, like, I do the CC version because I can jump out of the way of things and then keep the threat going on the creatures. So that everybody else is safe, but it's still a lot more fun and mobile for me. But some people, maybe they just want to soak it up.
That's going to be viable for all battles, not like specific, because in a lot of games it'll be like, oh, you have to tank in this specific way, or it's tank and spank, or it's...
Right. We definitely try to avoid that stuff. In our game we have, if you look at this sort of stuff, there's telegraphs moving everywhere, there's tornadoes that launch you up into the air. When you're going against the bosses, it's really about reacting to what you're seeing, and that's not always going to be the same. It's not like at 2 minutes this corner of the room is going to be red, get out of it, don't stand in that area. It may be anywhere because those telegraphs are placed randomly and based off of position on where you're at. So
it's scripted, but the scripting is dynamic.
Exactly.
And then, perhaps most importantly, how many of these instances and high-level, hardcore things are we going to have? So the dungeons are spread across, but the raids are all high-end, endgame stuff.
So we have 3 leveling dungeons, and then we have a 4th dungeon, which is level 50, level cap, and then we have a 20-man raid and a 40-man raid after that. And what's great is we also have another form of group content called adventures. And so those will go in between all of those levels. So you really have quite a bit of group content to play through if you want to level up in group stuff.
So what would be the difference between dungeons and adventures?
So I can't talk about adventures too much, but I will say that it is completely different in that there is more openness in an adventure versus a dungeon, which is more linear.
All right, take that as I will.
Yes, not so much, but we'll be talking about adventure soon.
Okay, thanks so much, Russ.
Dude, I appreciate it, man.
Thank
Thank you.